be coaching in his absence?
It'll be our #1 assistant coach. We call him Mecca, Coach Mecca Shazor. His real name is Mecca, and he will take the reins tonight as the head coach.
All right, thanks, Diane. Well, let's go through the starting lineups for both teams. First for Brookdale, #3, Kerry Kirkwood, #5, Kyle Bradshaw, #12, Zachary Olakani, and #23, Sky Harris, and #24, Jordan Little. For the Dragons, #2, Neftali Lind, #4, Ryan Jackson, #11, Paul Golder, #21, Dylan De La Rosa, and #42, Connor Jacobs. And as the players line up, looks like we're about ready for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we are. Let's go.
We welcome you to the Dragon Lair at the Athletic and Fitness Center at Howard Community College for this evening's men's basketball game featuring our visitors from Brookdale Community College versus homestanding Howard. A quick reminder that food and beverages are not allowed in the Dragon's Lair during the game. You're welcome to have refreshments in the lobby. We appreciate your cooperation in keeping the lair clean. At this time, we ask everyone who is able to please rise. We ask our gentlemen here present to please remove your caps. Please direct your attention to the flag at either side of the gym this evening as we honor all of our veterans, all of those serving our nation both at home and abroad, those who gave their lives in defense of our liberty and freedom, and we honor America this evening with the playing of our national anthem.
Okay, so we're about ready for tip-off. What we're going to do is take a 60-second break, and then when we come back, we'll start the game between the Dragons and Brookdale Community College. You're listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plato and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey, the dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
To know that life can be full of drama.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
You just can't control, like your girlfriend running out on you with your best friend. But there's some drama that you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma
Chris?
or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and start moving towards a brighter future and even your college degree.
Brought to you by the Dollar Foundation and the Ed Council.
We are back live here at Howard Community College, and we're going to go ahead and throw it back to you, Louie, to all the action.
Thanks, Chris. We're just about getting ready to start here. Howard Community College Dragons against the Jersey Community College.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet your homestanding Howard Community College Dragons.
And they're going through the starting lineup. Let's take a listen to that.
Number 2, Neftali Lind. Starting at guard, number 4, Ryan Jackson. Starting at guard, number 11, Paul Golder. Starting at guard, number 21, Dylan De La Rosa. And starting at forward, number 42, Connor Jacobs. The assistant coaches for Howard, James Poole, John Foster, Cameron Crump, and Eddie Roberts, and the head coach is Mecca Chiazor. Please welcome homestanding Howard.
All right, we're about ready for tip-off right here at the Dragons' lair.
Yeah, will be in the white jerseys. They are the guests on the scoreboard this evening.
And it looks like it'll be Jordan Little jumping against Connor Jacobs to open the game.
We thank you for taking time from your schedule to join us. We invite you now to relax and enjoy this evening's contest, and we wish best
We'll see what happens on this.
Okay, Brookdale on a 7-game winning streak. Howard on a 8-game losing streak, so hopefully fortune will turn today. And Brookdale controls the tip. Number 12, Olakani, passing off to Kirkwood. We've got looks like we've got a foul. Not sure, it wasn't called a foul.
Could have been a clock issue.
Okay, a clock issue. So Brookdale gets the ball, and they'll inbound it. Outside to Kirkwood over to Sky Harris, who tries a jumper from outside. No good. Rebound to the Dragons. Neftali Lynn going down court. Tries to pass outside. Looks like we have a foul here.
Tell you what, the Dragons like to push the ball, and they have the capabilities of doing that.
Foul called on Zachary Olukani. Ryan Jackson will inbound the ball for the Dragons. Passes over to Paul Golder. Golder at the top of the key. Outside to Dylan De La Rosa. Rosa back to Golder. Golder outside to Connor Jacobs. Over to Jackson, over to the right side. There's Dylan. Couldn't put it away. Rebound to Brookdale. That's number 12, Zachary Olakani, trying to drive to the basket. Misses. Rebound to Jordan Little for Brookdale. And it goes out of bounds into the Dragons, who bring it back down court. Paul Golder with the ball now. Errant pass over to Dylan De La Rosa, and we'll get a backcourt violation on the Dragons. So Brookdale will get the ball back.
You know, they gave a little bit of a token pressure on the way up. We had the ball, but then we got kind of lazy with protecting the ball. Communication.
Okay, the Jersey Blues with the ball now. Kirkwood over to Sky Harris, back to Kirkwood. Trying to get a shot inside. Inside over to number 24, Jordan Little, who puts it in for Brookdale. 2-0 now, Brookdale, 16:30 left to go. Dragons with the ball now. Neftali Lynn outside to Connor Jacobs. He tries a nice jumper from about 25 feet. And that was a three-pointer. They call it a three.
Connor has that capability of hitting the outside threes. He's a very mobile 6'9" guy for the Dragons.
Brookdale back down court now. That's number 3, Kerry Kirkwood, being the quarterback for them, but knocked away, and the rebound and the ball goes over to Dylan De La Rosa. Dragons dribbling down court. Pass outside to number 4, Ryan Jackson. Back to the top of the key for De La Rosa. Outside to Connor Jacobs, and I think they're going to call the travel. Yes, because the foot slid a little bit there.
He got a little ahead of himself. I think he was already ready to go here, and then he didn't gather himself. Balance.
3-2 Dragons now. 17:42 left to go in the half. And we've got a foul on the other side as Jordan Little tried to muscle his way into the basket.
That's a tough call. I thought he had all ball on that, and he didn't really hit him with the body. But
that's Connor Jacobs called for the foul. That'll be his first. 2 shots for Jordan Little. And he misses the first one off the rim. Second shot for Little. And he misses the second one. Rebound for Connor Jacobs. Quick outside pass to De La Rosa, but the ball was knocked away, and Brookdale gets the ball back. Pass under the basket to number 12, Zachary Olakani tries to put it in, and he does.
That's an example of not going to the ball. When you release the pass, that offensive player has to come to the ball, and that's why it was stolen.
Dragons with the ball now. Jacobs, top of the key, passes outside to Lynn. Over to De La Rosa. De La Rosa dribbling right side, bounces, off the backboard, and puts it in for the Dragons. Dragons now up 5-4, 16:54 to go in the first half.
That was a nice move by De La Rosa.
High off the backboard, very nice shot. Top of the key, Kerry Kirkwood putting it in for three. Brookdale grabs the lead back at 7-5. De La Rosa passes outside to Ryan Jackson, over to Connor Jacobs. Jacobs back to Neftali Lynn.
Again, you see an example of just being a little impatient, trying to force things that aren't quite there yet.
Bad pass, lands out of bounds, and the ball will be turned over to Brookdale. They're back down court. Kerry Kirkwood passing outside. Over to Zachary Olakani. Back to Kirkwood. Tries a three. No, passing back outside to Kirkwood. Gets the ball over to number 12, Zachary Olakani. Off the rim and rebound back to the Dragons. Connor Jacobs with the rebound.
Again, the Dragons are trying to push that ball up the court with a pass.
The ball knocked out of bounds by, looked like that was Kyle Bradshaw of Brookdale who knocked it out of bounds. Dragon ball. 26 seconds on the shot clock. Inbounds the ball over to De La Rosa. De La Rosa driving left. Can't find the basket. Tried to pass it off and it's knocked away. And Brookdale gets the ball back. And that looked, that was number 5, Kyle Bradshaw, trying to drive in for the layup, but he knocked the ball off his own foot. And the Dragons will get the ball back. Dylan De La Rosa dribbling down court for the Dragons. Outside to Taquan Hall. Hall back to De La Rosa, top of the key, good for three. Dragons now with an 8-7 lead. 15:23 left in the half. Kerry Kirkwood passing off to Zachary Olakani, trying to get a shot. Nope. Outside to Sky Harris, over to Jordan Little, who puts it in.
That was a nice defensive stopper.
24, Jordan Little is first, team second.
Hey, Dragons, sorry, go ahead, Diane.
I was going to say both teams look like they're playing a little bit of man-to-man and switching off a little bit of zone. Or
Okay, Dragons with the ball now. Connor Jacobs, left side, back to Paul Golder, who came into the game, and now that's rebound to Brookdale. Back the other way. And put in.
I think the Dragons...
Brookdale, sorry, 9-8 now, Brookdale.
Dragons have a hard time finishing sometimes. I think they rush. I always said it's a staccato move, but a waltz finish.
Dragons with the ball. Paul Golder trying to drive, knocked away. Rebound back to Brookdale. Brookdale bringing it back down court. Sky Harris with the jumper, no good. Rebound, Harris gets his own rebound, puts it back in. Nobody blocked him out. And the Jersey Blues of Brookdale take an 11-8 lead, and we're going to have a timeout. With 14-13 left to go in the first half, we're going to take a 60-second timeout. You're listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
I heard everything. And then we played catch. I broke Mr. Lewis's window. And then somehow my hand. And then my dad wouldn't let me drive his car. Hospital's on the right.
It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be perfect parents. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much,
for taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot, for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear Mom, for taking you to your therapies, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing. That's why AARP gives you the information to provide even better care for your loved one. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
And we are back now at the basement of my queue at home. I'm about to throw it back to Louie in the gym.
Thanks, Chris. We actually, that was just a 30-second timeout, so they've started play already. Both teams have had a possession. Neither team could score. It's 11-8 now. Brookdale over Howard, and that was number 2 for Howard. Neftali Lynn driving down the right side, lays it in easily. 11-10.
Neftali is a finisher. He's one of our stronger players who can go coast to coast for the most part. And you'll see a lot of times, all of a sudden, you'll see us running all over the place, and we look pretty helter-skelter. And sometimes we just need to slow it down a little bit so that we have more of a disciplined offense.
Foul on Taquan Hall. And we've got Brookdale going with 2 shots. And that's number 11, James Wright, shooting for Brookdale. He missed the first, misses the second, and the Dragons get the rebound. Pass off to Ronald Bryant Jr. on the left side. Back up to the top of the key is Neftali Lynn. Back over to number 21, Dylan De La Rosa, and that is, was that a 3?
Yes, it was.
Yes, that's a 3. 13-12, Dragons taking the lead.
That was a quick release and a nice shot. And a good pass.
Definitely. Brookdale now with the ball. Back inside to number 25, Matthew Ringel. And the ball knocked out of bounds by the Dragons. Brookdale will retain possession with 28 seconds on the clock. Shot clock. 12:39 to go in the first half. Dragons up 13-12. Ball inbounded back to Kerry Kirkwood. Kirkwood over to James Wright. Right back to Kirkwood, looking for an open man. Dribbles, right side, looks it. Stops and shoots a jumper. Nice shot by Kirkwood. And that puts Brookdale back up 14-13. Dragons quickly back up the court. Ronald Bryant trying to put it in with a close jumper, but now Dragons get the rebound. Ball knocked out ball blocked as Ryan Jackson tried to drive the lane. Brookdale coming back quickly the other way. Scramble under the basket. Ball passed back outside and lands in the hand of Kerry Kirkwood. Back over to Terry Gatling. Passing over to number 5, Kyle Bradshaw. The ball knocked away, and the Dragons have the ball back. They push it up. They keep trying to really push up as quickly as possible.
And you know what? I think that's a great thing that they're doing. I'm sure the coach preaches that. You want a fast break and put pressure on them. But then you've got to know when to take the ball back out. And that's what I mean about basketball IQ. You have to know when to take it all the way in. Hey, there's too many defensive players there. You got to take the ball back out and then go into your offense, whatever that offense is.
Okay, Dragons inbounding the ball. It goes over to number 3, Ryan Powell, who just came in the game. Powell with the ball at the top of the key. Back outside to Ryan Jackson. Jackson with the jumper, no good. Rebound to Brookdale. Passing, they're going down quick. So pass outside to number 11. That's Paul Golder, who puts it in for Brookdale and gets fouled. Foul's going
Should have shot that ball, but shot the ball closer in. He was way out. He didn't have to be so far out when he got the ball.
That's the 3rd team foul for Howard. 3 team fouls also for Brookdale. Shot goes in, and it's 17-13, Brookdale. Ryan Powell with the ball at the top of the key. Goes over to Ronald Bryant. Bryant, nifty pass to Ryan Jackson, but they're going to call him for a travel as he tried to lay it in. Drove the lane there, but shuffled his feet a little bit.
That was a great play. It was a beautiful play. It was like a give and go in a sense from the weak side, but he took a little step, extra step.
Brookdale back up court. James Wright over to Kirkwood. Kirkwood to Terry Gatling, back over to Wright. Left side, back inside to Gatling. Gatling tries to put it in, ball knocked away. It's going to go to Howard.
Yeah, the Dragons are still battling for the boards, which is nice to see.
10:35 left to go in the first half. Brookdale leading Howard 17-13. Left side to Ronald Bryant. Bryant passing over to Golder. Golder with a jumper for three. Nice jump shot by Golder.
This is what the Dragons have to do more of. You know, they want to get the ball into the hands of the scorers. You know, everybody thinks they can score, but that's not true. Everybody can shoot, but can you score? And the difference is 2 points.
Brookdale pushing it back up. A 10-foot jump shot from the baseline for number 11, James Wright. And that goes in for Brookdale. 19-16, Brookdale with the lead. Neftali Lynn comes right back and drives right in towards the basket, gets fouled as he puts the ball in. And now we'll get a foul shot to try and tie the game.
That was nice with Taekwon Hall. He had his eye on the basket the whole time as he drove, and he was able to capitalize.
My mistake. I said it was Neftali Lynn. It was Taekwon Hall, and Hall will take the foul shot to tie the game with. 9:49 left in the half. Misses the shot. Ball goes over back to Brookdale. Jump shot outside by number 10, Terry Gatling. That's a two-pointer, 21-18. Brookdale. Back near midcourt. Howard with the ball. Outside to Bryant. Bryant over to Jacobs with a nice jumper and that makes it 21-20.
Connor has a nice shot. He can shoot threes, and he can shoot also in the paint, and he also is able to extend beyond the paint.
Brookdale back with the ball. Sky Harris with a jumper off the rim. Rebound to Jacobs. Jacobs passes it out quickly over to Golder. Golder over to Taekwon Hall. Hall with a jumper outside, no good. Rebound to Brookdale, and they push it back up the floor. Back outside. That was Zachary Olukani who tried a jumper from inside the lane, and he's fouled. Shot no good, so he'll get two. Connor Jacobs with the foul, and that's his second of the game. And the 14th foul for the Dragons. Olukani taking two shots. First one, no good.
Neftali Lynn for Howard. Jordan Hernandez for Brookdale.
Olukani heading with the second shot. That goes in. 22-20 now. Brookdale over Howard with 8:26 to go in the half. Taekwon Hall passing over to Dylan De La Rosa at the top of the key. Back around to Lynn. Over with De La Rosa. De La Rosa to Golder. Ronald Bryant tries to drive baseline, but he stepped out of bounds, and the ball will go over to Brookdale.
These are the mistakes that drive coaches crazy. These are little mistakes that shouldn't happen this time of the year. You should know where you are on the court, know how far you are from the end lines and the sidelines, and position yourself better.
Olakani with the ball, passing over to Bradshaw. Over, jump shot, no good. Back to Howard. Howard with the rebound. Neftali Lynn driving down court. Ball knocked away, but Howard keeps possession. Long shot from the baseline. That was De La Rosa missing, but the rebound goes to Howard, and who put that in? Was that Hall? Taquan Hall putting it in.
From the weak side rebounding is so important in the game of basketball. It just is.
Good hustle by the Dragons there. That ties the score at 22, and Hall's going to get another foul shot, and this time to give us the lead. 7:40 to go in the first half.
That's what I mean about your offense. You want to push the ball up the floor, but if you don't have something, then take it out, work it around, look for a better shot so you've got some offensive rebounders underneath. Sometimes the Dragons rush, and they don't have any offensive rebounders underneath.
Hall makes the shot, and that gives the Dragons a 23-22 lead. Brookdale with the ball. Number 14, Jordan Hernandez, faking the shot, passing over to number 4, Keyshawn Kirkwood. Passing outside to Zachary Olakani, who drives the lane, misses, rebound. It's not, well, the ball gets knocked out of bounds, but Howard, so they say it's off of a Brookdale player. Howard will get the ball back.
The Dragons shift to a zone just then, and I think it kind of confused Brookdale a little bit.
Dylan De La Rosa taking the ball up court. Passing it around over to number 15, Ronald Bryant Jr. Outside jumper, no good. Rebound, back to Brookdale. Jordan Hernandez with the rebound there. Hernandez now with the ball at the top of the key. Gets it knocked away, but it's picked up by Kirkwood, sorry. Kirkwood outside to Gatling. Gatling back to Kirkwood with the three, no good. Rebound by Paul Golder for the Dragons. Golder takes it up court. Over left side to Lynn. Lynn over to Taquan Hall. Long three from the baseline. Ball bounces up on the rim a couple times and drops in. And so that's another three for the Dragons. 26-22 now. The Dragon lead with 6:09 left in the half.
That was a nice shot by Hall.
Got a good bounce, too.
Sure did.
The home court bounce. Missed shot by Brookdale. Rebound to the Dragons. They go quickly up court, and that is a nice lay-in for number 21, Dylan De La Rosa. Quick passing, and nice passing that time.
That was a beautiful fast break. We had a man advantage, 3-on-2, and usually you should be scoring those positions, so that was great. And that's what's great about Lind, our number 2. He can really explode from the defensive end and go coast to coast. Just, he has to be in more control, more consistency, more consistent, and have those players around him to help him.
And they say De La Rosa was fouled on the lay-in by Jordan Hernandez, so he gets the free throw. He misses it. Rebound back to Brookdale, bringing it down court. Brookdale with 16 fouls on the half of Dragons with only 4. Down to the Dragons. Back to Dylan De La Rosa, pushing it back up court. Passing over inside, back to Lynn. Lynn misses the layup, back to Brookdale. They push it back up court, and they miss a layup. And in the scrum after missed layup, the ball gets kicked vehemently out of bounds by Brookdale.
This is where you see in the game of basketball just going back and forth, back and forth.
Both teams trying to push it quickly up the court, and that exchange of neither team had anything to show for it.
No.
28-22, Dragons, 5:11 left in the first half. Dragons swinging around the key. Back to De La Rosa. Cross-court pass over to Ronald Bryant, who passes it back over to Jackson. Jackson tries to drive. Ball is knocked away. And it goes back to Brookdale.
This is the first time all game that we saw the Dragons use the clock. They didn't take a shot till 7 seconds left in the clock, which is smart because you're up by 6 points. You know,
Dragons pressing Sky Harris in the right corner by the baseline, but he did get a pass off, and on the ensuing shot by Matthew Ringel, he is fouled, and he'll have 2 shots. Makes the first free throw.
he made a nice effort on that puck up. When you're in the paint like that, you draw a lot of attention. So sometimes it's hard for officials to really see whose foul that was.
Ringel with the second free throw, also good. 28-24 now. Dragons with the lead. 4:30 left in the first half.
The Dragons have a capability of interchanging their players. Some players can play inside, some players can play outside, some players can do both. And I think that's the versatility that this young squad has for the Dragons.
Long jumper by Paul Golder goes for 3, and the Dragons out 31-24. And we're going to take a 30-second break here on Dragon Digital Radio. You're listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
Georgia, the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Howard Community College Dragon Digital Radio, and we are live bringing you men's basketball game tonight. You can follow the game online in YouTube, and you can also follow, if you don't have access to YouTube, you can just go to our app, Dragon Digital Radio for iPhone, for Android phones as well. And, just check it out. Go to Facebook. That's where you can find the link. Go to Dragon Digital Radio's page on Facebook. That's where you can find the link for the game. And make sure to just stay tuned. It's a very good game. Louis, going back to you.
Thanks, Chris. Coming out of the break, coming out of the timeout, the Brookdale took it down the court real quickly for a layup, and now they are down 31-26 with 3:42 left to play. Dragons coming back down court, and we have a foul. Foul by Matthew Ringel of Brookdale.
We gave up the baseline drive. We should have really forced the guy into the middle for some help, and that's how they scored. And then we brought the ball down, and we got fouled.
Ronald Bryant Jr. with 2 shots. He makes the first one. And the second one goes in. 33-26 now. Howard with the lead. 3:40 left in the half.
Looks like the Dragons are in the zone.
Ball out to James Wright, back up to Kerry Kirkwood at the top of the key, back to Wright. He has 2 men on him, passes off to Kirkwood, over to Gatling. Gatling swings it over to Olakani. Olakani with the jumper, no good. Rebound, there's a scrum underneath, and Ronald Bryant Jr. came away with the ball, and they're going to call a foul. And they're going to say that Sky Harris held him on that one. So, Brian.
I think in a situation like that, I mean, he was going around trying to protect the ball, which is what you should be doing. Get your elbows out, protect your ball. And if you couldn't pass out, then you try to go in between a seam of these defensive players to at least take one dribble out so that you can free yourself and then pass it up to a guard.
Bryant with 1-and-1, and he makes the first one. Misses the second one, but the rebound goes to the Dragons. That was Golder. Golder takes a quick shot, and now we've got a tie up under the basket.
You know, it's funny with a shot like that, they're afraid of getting hit. So what they do, instead of facing the basket, they're doing this like this little hook shot. And they really should face the basket and, you know, see what happens. If they get it blocked, they get it blocked. But then they have a better shot of getting fouled if they face the basket that way.
Ronald Bryant Jr. called for the foul on the rebound, and that will be his second foul of the game. Dragons with 6 team fouls. Brookdale bringing it down court. Ball taken away by the Dragons. They drive it downfield, and then that's number 2, Neftali Lynn, getting fouled. And they're in the 1-and-1, so he'll take the free throw.
Again, what you saw just there is the quick reaction time of Lynn. I mean, he can go from the back court right to the front court in about 4 seconds. And he really pushes up the ball, up the court.
Lynn makes the first shot.
And that's where you get some fouls that way, when you really can push the ball and fly up the floor like that.
And he makes shot number 2. So it's 36-26. Dragons with 3 minutes to go in the half. Dragons pressing, making Brookdale make some errant passes, but they do make it across court, across midcourt. Kirkwood with the ball, passing it over to James Wright. Right back to Kirkwood, baseline, passing it over to number 5, Kyle Bradshaw, over to Wright. Bounce pass, back to Kirkwood. Back over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw passing it into Olakani, who drives the lane, puts it in, and gets fouled.
I thought that was a nice element of surprise by the Dragons, putting on a full court press, try to, you know, get a turnover, change the pace of the game a little bit.
And Brookdale almost threw it away.
Brookdale had options to shoot, but they chose to then wait and draw the defense and drive.
And with the drive, Olakani gets a basket and gets fouled. Makes the free throw, and it's 36-29. Dragons with the lead. 2.5 minutes left to go in the half.
I thought that was a pretty nice idea. I think he saw Lynn there, get a quick pass. Had the right idea.
Yeah, Dragons pass goes out of bounds. Brookdale gets the ball back with 2:21 left in the half. Kirkwood over to Olakani. Tries to drive to the basket. Ball knocked away. And it looks like it went off of Brookdale player, off of Ryan Powell. And it'll go back to the Dragons.
Brookdale's responding now with a full court press with about 2 minutes or so to go, left in the game. That's what I call a token press.
Ryan Powell passing over to Jackson. Jackson over to Taquan Hall. Hall getting tied up at the top of the key. Tries to pass it, force it inside the lane. The ball's knocked away. Brookdale gets the ball back, and they press it down court. Zachary Olakani trying to drive the lane. Puts up a quick jumper. Go good. Rebound back to the Dragons. Powell with the ball. Driving right side. Ball knocked out of his hands. And ball knocked back over to him. There was a couple of passes knocked away. The Dragons end up with the ball. And number 11, Paul Golder, gets it and puts it in. And the Dragons now with a 38-29 lead.
Looks like there's a lot of air in that ball. I don't know if you noticed it through the whole game.
Ball bouncing a little too high.
A little bit.
Rebound back to the Dragons. Golder with the ball, pushing it down court. Back over to Powell. Powell left side to Taquan Hall, trying to put a hook in off the rim. Rebound, and ball bounces out of bounds, and we'll see who gets that. Looks like they'll give it to Brookdale.
You know, that was a good effort, though, on part of the Dragons. You know, they didn't quit on that play. They went to try to get the ball back, and that's one of the things Coach Dull always treat is you got to give effort. You got to give an honest effort, 100% effort every sequence, every time you have the ball or don't have the ball.
Just under a minute to go in the first half. Brookdale with the ball. Carrie Cookwood, a long jumper from the top of the key. That's the three. Cuts the lead to 38-32. Howell driving down the court. Just doesn't have anything in the lane. Brings it back out. Back to midcourt. Now again trying to drive, passing outside to Lynn. Lynn drives baseline. Good. Puts it in. Nice drive by Lynn and a nice pass by Powell, giving him the ball there.
That was a nice play. Nice and control. It's just beautiful.
40-32 Dragons. 10-second nice fake by number 5, Kyle Bradshaw, and he lays it in for Brookdale. Dragons try to go down, the ball's taken away, and an errant jump shot by Carrie Cookwood from Brookdale, and that is the end of the half. So at the end of the first half, the Dragons 40, Brookdale 34. We're going to take a 2-minute break and come back with first half analysis. You're listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda, that's $10,012. Please drive around.
10,000 what?
It's obvious you're Buzz. The food's $12, but getting pulled over for Buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
He must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
I'm Lance Bass, and I will not be news today. I will not make another push to be the first man in space with frosted tips and a puka shell necklace. I will not go viral as my terror is caught on camera when I realize that in the vacuum of space, no one can hear you sing. No, I will not be trending today because there is a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
Ebola still needs our attention. Follow the response, recovery, and rebuilding at trendonthis.org. Brought to you by USAID, International Medical Corps, and the Ad Council. This is the sound of salmonella gyrating on your undercooked chicken. And it looks like Mom might be taking it out a little early. Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So use a thermometer to cook each type of meat to the right temperature. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Louis Garcia back here with HCC Athletic Director Diane Schumacher. This is Dragons men's basketball on Dragon Digital Radio. We're at halftime now against the Jersey Blues of Brookdale Community College, and Howard has a 40-34 lead. And Diane, we're just going over the first half statistics. The first thing I noticed you circled was the turnovers.
Turnovers always kill you, but they both had turnovers. Howard had 11 and Brookdale had 9. But what's interesting about Howard actually took advantage of the turnovers from Brookdale better. They had 7 points off Brookdale's turnovers, while Brookdale had 4 points off Howard CC's turnovers.
Okay, a quick look at the first half stats, and you look for For Howard, the leading scorer, Dylan De La Rosa, 10 points on 4 for 6 shooting, 2 for 3 from the three-point line. Taquan Hall with 8 points, 3 for 5 shooting, and 1 for 2 from 3. Paul Golder has 8 points. He's 2 for 2 from 3 and 3 for 6 overall. And Neftali Lynn, the leading scorer for the Dragons, being held to 6 points, 2 for 4 from the field. For Brookdale, a leading scorer for them, Kerry Kirkwood has 8 points. He's gone 3 for 5 field goals and 2 for 3 from 3. James Wright has 8 points, 3 for 5 shooting, and Zachary Olakani 3 for 10. He has 5 rebounds though. He's got 8 points to tie for the lead for Brookdale. And as we look at fouls, nobody is really in foul trouble. Both teams have 3 men with 2 fouls, and that's pretty much it as far as the being in foul trouble. So the fairly clean game and just a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, both teams, I think, are evenly matched. The halftime stats, there's nothing that just really, truly jumps out at you, except for me, it's turnovers.
Yeah, exactly.
But shooting-wise, percentage-wise, HCC shot 48% from the floor. They held Brookdale to 37%, so that's your defense right there. Could have been the difference in the game right then is the defensive part of how we were playing. Like to see more offensive rebounds. We only had 3 in that first half. And that's part of that, like I said, when you spend a little time in working your ball around, that gives you time for your offensive rebounders to get underneath too. If you go too quick, they're not ready.
Yeah.
So that's part of being young, and your basketball IQ that we talk about. But they hustle. Howard hustles. Brookdale was hustling too. And I thought in the first half, Coach Mecca was making some changes on the defensive part of the floor. They had a little bit of press.
They were pressing a little more in the later part of that half.
And then they were going into like man-to-man, and they were switching to a zone. I thought that kept Brookdale a little imbalanced that way.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take another break. This time, we're going to take a 3-minute break. And when we come back, Diane, I want to ask you about some of the other the spring sports going on here at Howard Community College. You are listening to Dragon Digital Radio. And you're listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
37% of the workforce, changing their role forever. Harvard Medical School has now opened its doors to new female applicants. The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes twice a day, making sure they brush their teeth, is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Juice, Mom. Juice.
Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom,
I want juice.
Mom,
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for all of us. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Back here at the Dragons Lair, Louis Garcia, along with HCC Athletic Director Diane Schumacher. And we're at halftime with the Dragons leading Brookdale Community College 40-34. And coming up, the Howard Community College's spring semester open. We've got spring sports coming up. And Diane, you said one sport in particular is opening up tomorrow.
Our men and women's track and field under first-year head coach Dr. Robert Etheridge begins his era with a nice road trip.
Where are they going?
You're going to ask me now.
Oh, sorry. They're going on the road.
They're going on the road.
And so we're with the new coach. We're losing a coach who's been here for quite a long time, Steve Musselman.
Yeah, new era is starting. Steve retired in December. He was the founder of both the cross-country and track programs, and he was here for 31 years. And they had convocation today, and he showed up with his wife Sherry, and it was very, very nice.
That's great. That's great. Women's lacrosse.
Right. Eric Faust. We're doing eligibility right now with men's lacrosse and women's lacrosse. And they'll open up with a scrimmage on February 4th, I think it is, but the women won't open up until a little bit later on. And then what will happen, we'll see what happens with the grades coming out for Monday, and we'll take a look at, maybe we'll get a couple of basketball players back, which will be nice for Coach Jay.
That'd be great.
And the squad and the kids.
As he goes down the final stretch of the season.
Yep. And then coming up March 10th through the 12th, we are hosting the Division II women's basketball regionals here for the first time ever.
Awesome.
So that should be some pretty good basketball there for the women. And then, of course, we're hosting the men and women's NJCAA Division III Outdoor Track and Field Nationals this year, May 11th through the 13th.
We're looking forward to all of that as the students get back into the swing of things. The spring sports will be getting going too. We're going to take a 2-minute break and then come back with the second half with Howard leading 40-34 over Brookdale. You're listening to Howard Community College men's basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plato and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Dustin Lynch. To listen to country music to know that life can be full of drama. Girlfriend running out on you with your best friend. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education
education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find 3 classes near you and start moving towards a brighter future and even your college degree.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Today, my new dad threw a barbecue.
I burnt everything.
Ah! And then we played catch.
I broke Mr. Lewis's window. And then, somehow, my hand. My hand!
And then my dad even let me drive his car.
The hospital's on the right! It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much.
For taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot.
For leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
Take care of you, my dear mom, for taking you to your therapies, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing. That's why AARP gives you the information to provide even better care for your loved one. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Dragons Lair. I'm Louis Garcia, along with HCC Athletic Director Diane Schumacher. You're listening to Howard Community College men's basketball on Dragon Digital Radio. Going into the second half, Dragons up 40-34 against Brookdale Community College. And I just want to remind everybody that if you like this program and you like our Dragon Digital Radio, then like us on Facebook at Dragon Digital Radio. And if you want to watch all the highlights of Howard Community College athletics, check out our YouTube page, HCC Dragons Sports. And Diane, we're heading over to the second half. Ready for tip-off? I'm sorry. Ready for the Dragons to inbound the ball. Ryan Jackson will bring it in to start the second half, and he passes it out to De La Rosa to start the second.
Coach Mecca must have had a very short dialogue with the players because they were out here with about almost 7 minutes until the start of the second half just to get them out here shooting, keep them going.
Lynn puts the ball in on the rebound and puts it in for two, 42-34, Dragons in with the lead.
Now that's the way to start a half.
Good passing, nice rebound, putting it in. Ball knocked out of bounds by the Dragons. Brookdale retains possession of the ball. Dragons up 8 as we start the second half. Zachary Olakani tries to drive baseline, but has to pass it outside to Bradshaw. Bradshaw back to the top of the key to Sky Harris. And jumper no good. Rebound to the Dragons. They push it back down court.
That was a good defensive effort of the Dragons because they came out at the shooter with their hands up. And that's enough to distract the shooter.
Ryan Jackson drives across the baseline, tries to put it in, but the ball's off the rim. Rebound back to Brookdale. Back down court for Brookdale. Shot missed. They get the rebound, passing it over to number 23. That is Sky Harris.
He made a nice effort underneath the basket, took that extra dribble, and actually did a reverse layup and drew the foul.
Puts it in and is fouled. The foul called on number 42, Jacobs. Connor Jacobs, I think, yes, that's his third foul. He's the first player with 3 fouls in this game. Three-point play is good. And lead now 42-37 Dragons, with 16:44 left in the second half. De La Rosa passing it off to Jackson. Jackson over. A little bit of a mess in the middle of the lane. The ball bounces out and goes to Brookdale, and they drive it in for a basket.
That's what I would call a forced shot. You know, Lynn should have just brought the ball back out. He was trying to force something, and I think that's what happens with young players.
Lynn with the turnover, and Brookdale pressing it down court very quickly and putting it in. Long jump shot by Number 11, Paul Golder, no good. Rebound back to Brookdale. Basket again, quickly down court. Shot taken by number 24, Jordan Little, no good. Tie up under the basket, and they're going to call the foul on Little. That's his third of the game. Dragons will get the ball.
Little token pressure again. Player-to-player pressure in the backcourt against the Dragons.
Taquan Hall bringing it down court for the Dragons over to Jacobs. Jacobs tries to hit De La Rosa coming in down the lane, but an errant pass picked off by Kyle Bradshaw. Brookdale again bringing it down quickly. Jump shot by Sky Harris, no good. Rebound, Dragons.
And that pass was too late. You have to hit that person earlier than what Connor tried to do, and so I call that a decoy.
Jacobs over to Hall, passes it over to De La Rosa, back outside. Oh, tried to pass it outside to Jacobs, and the ball again knocked away, this time by Jordan Little. Brookdale bringing it down the court very quickly. Kyle Bradshaw drives in and scores on the layup.
And you see how quick momentum changes like that? All of a sudden we had a bad pass, that's a turnover, they score, we come back down, same thing. Momentum switch changes now. So it's a good timeout that Coach Mecca has just called.
And I believe this is a full timeout, so we'll take a 1-minute break and come back. You're listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Back at the Dragons' lair, Louis Garcia along with Diane Schumacher. The Dragons leading 42-41 over Brookdale with under 17 minutes left in the second half. And that was Paul Golder driving the lane, bouncing it off the backboard and in for a nice layup, 44-41 Dragons.
That was a nice reverse spin that we just saw, and he laid it right up on the backboard.
Pass inside to Sky Harris, who gets the ball knocked away. Dragons get the ball back and drive right back up the court. Pass outside to Ronald Bryant. Bryant driving left side, and he's fouled.
By Bryant, he was able to draw a foul.
Foul called on Zachary Olukani. That'll be a second of the game. Second team foul for Brookdale in the half.
Every time you have possession as a coach, you want your kids to get either 2 points or 1 point. You want something offensively out of that. So that was good.
Ronald Bryant Jr. makes the first free throw. And the second, putting the Dragons up 46-41. Brookdale with the ball back. Olukani back over to Kirkwood. Kirkwood outside to Kyle Bradshaw. Bradshaw back to Kirkwood. Left side to number 12, Olukani. Olukani driving back towards the free throw line. Outside the Bradshaw. Tries a three, airballs it, but the ball goes right into the hands of number 23, Sky Harris, who puts it in.
Dragons let down a little bit on that rebound. Didn't see the weak side rebounder.
Easy jump shot for Harris. 46-43 now. Dragons with the ball. Back outside. That's Paul Golder with a jump shot from the top of the key. 48-43 now. Kirkwood outside to Bradshaw. Bradshaw brings it back in.
Wow.
To Jordan Little.
I'm surprised
they called
that a block. I'm surprised.
Block.
It looked to me from this angle offensive charge that he was set. But again, that official was a little bit closer than we were.
Looked like Taquan Hall was set. He gets called with the foul. That's his second of the game.
Looks like the Dragons are coming down on a 3-2 defensively at this point.
Looks like Coach Mecca wants an explanation on that foul. Shot missed. Rebound back to Brookdale. He puts it in, and we have a foul on the rebound.
So you don't want to give that up on the defensive board like that. You've got to box out. So those are too easy of a bucket for your opponent off a free throw.
It was Jordan Little with the missed free throw. Sky Harris getting the offensive rebound and getting fouled. Foul called again on Hall. Now that's his third foul of the game. Harris makes the free throw, now ties the game at 48-48 with 15:20 left in the second half. Ryan Jackson tries to drive, and he gets fouled by Kyle Bradshaw.
Brookdale foul number 5, Kyle Bradshaw, his first.
And that's Bradshaw's first of the game. Jackson will inbound the ball from the baseline. Bounces it inside to Lynn. Lynn with an easy layup. Puts it in. Nice pass. Right under the basket. Lynn bouncing it in.
Again, you saw some quickness in Lynn, and that was the advantage.
50-48 Dragons now with 15 minutes left in the game. Brookdale passing it around, passing it over to Olakani. Outside jumper, no good. Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll go to the Dragons. De La Rosa passing it over to Jackson. Jackson looking back to De La Rosa at the top of the key. Swings it over to Neftali Lynn. Lynn looking for someone inside, can't find it. Passes back to De La Rosa. 16 seconds on the shot clock. De La Rosa driving right side, outside to Lynn, who goes back into the lane. A nifty little jump shot there, driving across the lane for Lynn.
That was a nice sequence for the Dragons. They were patient on the offense. They worked through their offense a couple of rotations. And then they got it to I call it the money ball player who can finish.
And he put it in, Lynn. Short jump shot by Sky Harris makes it 52-50. Lynn now with 12 points for the game. Paul Golder also 12 for the Dragons. Ronald Bryant driving left side, puts it in and is fouled.
You saw in that sequence, our number 15, he faced the basket. He didn't throw a little jump hook or anything, but he faced the basket, took his time, went in, got fouled.
Foul called on number 24, Jordan Little. That'll be his fourth. So now that's the first person in foul trouble for either team. So he'll sit down. Free throw missed, and the rebound going to Brookdale. Dragons up 54-50 with under 14 minutes now in the game. Bradshaw back inside to Harris. Harris over to Ringel, who just came in, and he puts it in right under the basket.
That was a good effort by Brookdale.
54-52 now. Dragons with the lead. Bryant over to De La Rosa. De La Rosa back to Bryant. Back underneath to Lynn. Lynn puts it in, tries to put it in, gets blocked, but a foul is called, and that'll be on, looks like Ringel.
And that looked like an exact play that we saw down the other end just repeat itself on this end just now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a third foul for Ringel. First free throw by Lynn, no good. Lynn with his second, puts it up and in. 55-52 now, Dragons with the lead.
Both teams are evenly matched. Now it looks like we're in some type of zone.
Yep.
We brought the pressure out to half court.
Back bounce pass inside, knocked away. Good play by number 21, De La Rosa, who gets it off to Lynn. Lynn with the dog. Quick down the court, and they made the most of that turnover.
Well, I tell you what Brookdale did. They overpassed. That extra pass that they did caused a turnover. You know, sometimes you don't want to be selfish, but then there's that fine line between being unselfish and being kind of stupid. You know, you got to just take the ball off.
Right.
And then that sequence allowed the Dragons to get the ball off a turnover, and you saw the dunk. Now that can change momentum. See what happens coming out of the timeout.
Well, Brookdale called a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here. It's 57-52. Howard with the lead. And as far as team fouls go, Brookdale with 5 for the half and Howard with just 2.
Dragons defense looks pretty good. And they're starting to settle down a little bit more offensively, it appears.
Looks like they're back in the zone, starting to press a little bit, but staying with the zone. Brookdale passing it around. Kirkwood from outside for 3, no good. Rebound, Dragons. That's Paul Golder bringing it right down the court, and another nice pass, bounce pass to Lynn coming down the right side, and he lays it in. It's 59-52.
That was a beautiful transition.
Back down court. Sky Harris with a short jumper in the lane, makes it 59-54. Quick down court by Brookdale, and a nice pass inside to Harris. Dragons now with the ball. Bryant over to De La Rosa. De La Rosa top of the key, swings it outside to Paul Golder. Golder back to Bryant. Bryant drives, puts it, bounces in. Again, nice series of passes by the Dragons, and Bryant gets fouled.
Brookdale looks like they went back into a man-to-man, and I think again the patience of the Dragons helped them with the sequence. That was nice.
And the foul called on Ringgold, that's his 3rd. So he'll go out. I'm sorry, they called that on James Wright. Brookdale with the ball. Dragons with a 7-point lead, 61-54. And an offensive foul called on, looks like number 11, James Wright. Dragons with the ball. De La Rosa crosses midcourt, looking for someone, passing it over to Bryant. Bryant back to De La Rosa, top of the key, no good. Ball bounces out of bounds, and it will go to, they say it's going to go to Brookdale.
Looks like we didn't have any rebounders underneath that when De La Rosa took that shot.
Brookdale with the ball. Dragons up 7, 61-54 with 11 and a half minutes left in the game. Back outside to Kirkwood. Kirkwood over to Sky Harris. Back to Kirkwood, back to Harris with a jumper from the corner for 3. Good, it's 61-57, and the Dragons come right back down to Lynn, who drives the lane and puts it in. Nifty little layup for Lynn, and it's 63-57.
You know, it's nice to see the Dragons answer right back on a play like that, transition.
Brookdale with the ball. Jordan Hernandez with the jumper, and he is fouled. And that is De La Rosa with the foul. That'll be his 3rd for the game. 4th team foul for the Dragons. Brookdale with 6 team fouls. It looks like Connor Jacobs and Ryan Jackson will check in for the Dragons. Bryant and Golder checking out.
Hernandez makes both free throws for Brookdale.
Hernandez makes both free throws to make it 63-59. Dragons, 10:45 left in the game. Dragons with the ball. Jackson over to Jacobs. Jacobs over to Taekwon Hall. Tries to drive left side. Gets fouled.
The Dragons are very quick of foot if you see them. They're quicker than Brookdale, you know, player for player in terms of quickness. And that's how he picked up that foul.
Foul called to number 11. That'll be number 2 for him, the 7th team foul. So we go to the 1-and-1. Hall makes the first one. Now shooting the bonus. And puts that in as well. 65-59 Dragons.
Howard.
James Wright with the ball on the right side, looking around, passes outside to Jordan Hernandez. Hernandez back to right, back to Hernandez outside, three-pointer no good, rebound Dragons. Lynn pushing it down court, trying to find the lane. He does and puts a nice little spin move by Lynn. And that gives the Dragons a 67-59 lead, and that's 19 points for Neftali Lind.
That's his game. If he starts going, you're going to see that the rest of the game.
Brookdale passing it around. Sky Harris with the jumper, no good. Rebound by number 10, Terry Gatling puts it in.
That was a nice put-back rebound without even coming down.
Dragons now up 6. Under 10 minutes to go in the game. Connor Jacobs looking for someone to pass to, passing it around over to Lynn. Lynn back to Taekwon Hall. Jumper, no good. Rebound out to midcourt. Passes it outside, back inside to Jacobs. Jacobs tries to jump. He is blocked. But Neftali Lynn gets the ball as it is knocked away from Connor Jacobs. Neftali Lynn gets the ball and puts it in.
That was a great effort by the Dragons.
Way to stay with the ball. Dragons now up 8, 69-61 with 9 minutes left. Jordan Hernandez tries to drive inside for Brookdale, and it looks like he was fouled. And they're going to call the foul on Ryan Jackson. I think that's his first foul of the ball game.
Howard foul number 4, Ryan Jackson.
Yes, it is. 5th team foul for Howard. Dragons up 8. 6:59 now to go in the game. Ball goes inside, goes outside to Sky Harris, back over to number 11, James Wright, tries to drive, and he is fouled.
I think Coach Mecca is using some interesting substitutions. You know, he's coming in with 2 or 3 players to give other players rests. And he has interesting combinations coming into the game.
Yeah, Dylan De La Rosa and Neftali Lynn sitting down right now. And we've got Ryan Powell, Connor Jacobs. We've got Taekwon Hall, Paul Golder, and Ryan Jackson in for the Dragons on the floor. Misses both free throws. Made one. 69-62. Dragons now with the ball. It's under 7 minutes to go in the game. Pass inside to Jackson, and he waits. 2 guys flew right over him, and he puts it in. Right under the basket, 2 guys flying, and he just ducked, let them go past him, and then put the ball in easily. Back over to Brookdale, and that's number 11, James Wright, getting the ball, going inside and laying it in. So now it's 71-64, Dragons winning.
That was a great decision by Ryan Jackson to do that.
Powell over to Golder. Golder back to Powell at the top of the key, back over to Golder, who drives across the lane, passes back outside. Powell back to Golder. Golder again outside and takes the jump shot. No good. Rebound. Sorry, tie up under the basket. And possession goes to Brookdale as we had a tied up ball under the basket.
That still was a great effort by the Dragons. Missed shot, came back in, get the rebound, passing. It was a good sequence. Good effort.
Kerry Crookwood taking it down court for Brookdale. Pass it over to Keyshawn Kirkwood, back over to outside to James Wright. Wright with a jumper from about 10, 15, and he puts it in at 71-66. Dragons lead cut to 5 now.
That was a nice shot by Brookdale. And coming out for defense. That's what you want to do as a defensive player on an outside shooter. You come out with your hand up.
Looks like Paul Golder got fouled as is on the Dragons' possession, and they're going to call the foul on number 11, James Wright, and that's number 3 for him. 8th team foul. So the 1-and-1 for Golder. Golder with 12 points on the night. Makes the first one.
Well, I hope Coach Jay, wherever he is enjoying this game.
I hope he's watching the stream.
I know, and
on YouTube.
Hopefully he's seen some good things here tonight.
Golder with the second shot, up at the rim and in.
I know he'd rather be here.
Yes, absolutely. And the Dragons now with a lead of 73-66 over Brookdale. Kerry Kirkwood bringing it down court for Brookdale. Up to James Wright, back to Kirkwood, back to Wright outside for 3, no good. Rebound goes to Kirkwood, over to Sky Harris. Harris jumper, no good. Rebound Dragons, back, nice pass over to Lynn. Lynn bounces it over to Taquan Hall, who lays it in. Quick up court again for the Dragons, makes it 75-66. Back up court for Brookdale. Connor Jacobs with the block, but the nice pickup by number 11, James Wright, and put in for him, and that makes it 75-68.
That was a nice sequence for Brookdale and a nice second effort.
Jacobs outside for 3, no good. Rebound. Lynn drives it, tries to put it in, no good. And another tie-up under the basket. This time possession will go to the Dragons.
Now you just saw Connor say, my bad. You know, he took an outside shot, was probably not the shot he really wanted to take.
Not the best time for that.
But it's good that you recognize that as a player.
Definitely.
That tells me you're learning. But I like the battling that's going on underneath the boards.
Yeah, on both sides.
On both sides, for sure.
Ryan Jackson inbounds the ball for the Dragons. Over to Bryant. Bryant driving into the lane, passes it over to Lynn. Lynn tries a layup, no good. Rebound to Brookdale back, but the ball's taken away by Taquan Hall, and he puts it in. 77-68 Dragons.
That was a great second effort and third effort.
James Wright, top of the key, drives, passes it off to number 10, Tara Gatling. Gatling right under the basket, puts it back in for Brookdale at 77-70 now, coming up on 6 minutes to go in the game.
That was a nice pass from the 90-degree angle up on top for the baseline cutter. It was a great pass from Brookdale.
De La Rosa with the ball, passing it over to Lynn. Lynn back to De La Rosa, outside to Taquan Hall. Hall trying to get a shot, doesn't have one. Passes it over to Ronald Bryant. Bryant from 3, no good. Rebound, Lynn, ball knocked out of bounds. They're going to give it to the Dragons.
That was a smart play by Lynn. A lot of times with young ball players, they don't think about, as you're going out of bounds, you just take the ball and hit it off the opponent's leg, and you get the ball back. It's a great play.
And that's what happened. Dragons inbound the ball over to De La Rosa. Rosa takes it back out to midcourt, passing it over to Lynn. Lynn in three-point land, toss it back to De La Rosa, who steps around his man, but they're going to call the travel. I'd say that was a good call.
Yeah, you know, still was a nice play. It was like nice recognition, nice pass, good
It was a
spacing.
good pass. It was.
On the Dragons' part.
Brookdale now with the ball down 7, 77-70. Dragons up 5.5 minutes left to go in the game. Kirkwood takes a jumper. Is that from?
With penetration with the pass versus the dribble.
Short jumper for James Wright for Brookdale, no good. Scramble underneath the basket, and we've got looks like another tie-up and another held ball, but this time the possession arrow is in favor of Brookdale.
This is what I love about college ball. You know, they give you efforts both on the offensive end and the defensive end. That's why sometimes I can't watch pro ball. They walk the ball up the floor, they walk it back down. These kids are really fighting for the ball.
Both teams showing a lot of hustle. Of hustle. We've seen three tied up, three held balls, tied up balls in the last couple of minutes. Everyone fighting for every rebound. Sky Harris with the ball, tries to drive across the lane. Jumper, no good. Rebound goes to Dragons. Paul Golder with the ball crossing midcourt. Tries to drive the lane and gets fouled. Is that going to be on? Yeah, they're going to call it on number 4, Keyshawn Kirkwood. And that'll be his fall game of the, 9th of the half for Brookdale, so we'll still go with the 1-1. Paul Golder shooting for the Dragons.
I don't think Coach Mecca has sat down once tonight.
I think he's basically been in that same spot on the sideline the whole time. First shot of the 1-1 is no good. Rebound back to Brookdale, pushing it back down court. Kirkwood trying to pass inside. Ball knocked away. He gets it back. Back over to Bradshaw. Under the basket. Puts it in.
Again,
off the backboard.
We gave them the baseline drive. We got to take that away.
Dragons
Brookdale.
lead down to 5 now, 79-74 with 4 minutes to play. Ronald Bryant Jr. with the ball, passing it over to Lind. Lind with 23 points on the night. Swings it around to Golder. Golder back to Lind at the top of the key. He drives the lane. Ooh, ball knocked out of bounds by Bradshaw. That ball was blocked. Lind didn't really have the space in the lane, and Bradshaw blocked it out of bounds. Dragons will retain possession with 8 seconds on the shot clock.
I like that, what I just saw. Our player number 2, patted the back of Brookdale player, acknowledging that was a nice block. That was nice.
It was a great block. Okay, Dragons inbound the ball. Ronald Bryant Jr. at the top of the key. Over to Golder. Golder with a long 3, no good, but the ball rebounded by Lind. Lind tries to put it in, no good. Scramble for the rebound, and Lind gets it back. Nice hustle by Lind getting the ball back. New shot clock, too. Dragons retain possession. De La Rosa over to Bryant. Bryant back to De La Rosa, driving left side, right, puts it in. He started to drive, took a step back with nice jumper from about 8 feet, and De La Rosa gets the score. 81-74 now for the Dragons. And Brookdale comes right back with a 3-pointer by number 5, Kyle Bradshaw.
Tell you, this game, I think, is going to go down to the wire.
And Bryant trying to drive, no good. Rebound, Lind puts it up, no good. Rebound back over to Brookdale. 81-77 now as we get under 3 minutes in the game. And number 11, James Wright, drives the lane.
Again, the Dragons gave up the baseline.
Gave up the baseline. And James Wright gets the basket and the foul. 81-79 now. The lead cut, which had once been up to about 9, now down to 2 with 2:46 remaining. And James Wright can make it 1 with this free throw. The foul called on number 21, Dylan De La Rosa. That's number 4 for him. Wright makes it, and it's 81-80.
I think we've got to tighten up a little bit more on the defensive end.
And we've got a timeout. So we're going to take a 60-second break. We'll be right back. This is Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
Okay, so 5 tacos with cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
Louis Garcia back with Diane Schumacher. This is Dragons basketball and Dragon Digital Radio. Dragons up 81-80 now with 2:46 to go in the game. Looks, Diane, sounded like we heard some yelling back between the benches during the break.
We certainly did, but I'm not sure if it was Brookdale. I'm not sure exactly what was happening back there.
Let's see if we can get to the bottom of that.
All I know is we have an exciting ball game here with about 2 minutes and 46 seconds and 1 point difference.
So let's set it up for you. 81-80. Dragons with the lead. 2:46 to go. Both teams in the bonus. As far as team fouls, one more foul by Brookdale, and the Dragons will shoot 2 every time they go to the free throw line. Dragons with the ball now. Dylan De La Rosa dribbling cross court. Passing off to Jackson. Jackson back to De La Rosa, top of the key, over to Ronald Bryant. Bryant looking for someone inside. Can't find anyone, passes it back outside to De La Rosa. Little mix-up over on the right side of the foul line, and we've got a foul on Brookdale.
I think if the Dragons remain patient on the offensive end, use their quickness, but be patient, we're going to get open. We're going to definitely get open.
So the foul's called on Sky Harris. That's his third. And Ronald Bryant Jr. takes the first free throw. He gets 2. He misses the first one. And puts in the second one. It's now 82-80. Dragons with 2:26 to go. Kirkwood over to Bradshaw, back over to Kirkwood. Right side to Sky Harris, back over to Bradshaw. And it looks like we have another foul. Foul called on Ronald Bryant. Jordan Little will be the recipient of that foul, so he will shoot the 1-1.
Was that on the weak side?
I think so.
Did he hold him from making a cut?
I think it must have been what was called because Little was cutting across. Little misses the first of the 1-1. Dragons get the rebound. Over to De La Rosa. 2 minutes to go now. 2 minutes to go in the game. Dragons up by 2. Ronald Bryant Jr. left side. Back to De La Rosa, top of the key. Swings it out. Boulder cutting across the lane. He puts it in. 84-80 now. And Brookdale coming back quickly. Three-pointer by Kirkwood, no good. Long rebound by Brookdale. Back outside to Sky Harris. He with the jumper, bouncing off the rim, off the backboard and in. 84-82 now. Dragons with the lead. Minute and a half to go. Bryant with the ball. Passing over to Ryan Jackson. Jackson with Bradshaw on him. Tries to find someone. Finds Bryant. Drives the lane. Misses. No good. Put in by Lynn. Nice hustle by Neftali Lynn. That gives him 25 for the night. 86-82. Long jumper by Brookdale. No good. Rebound by Jordan Little. He puts it in and is fouled.
See, this is where when you're going down to the closing minute or so, this is where you have to really tighten up on your defense, and you got to tighten up on your rebounding.
Brookdale pushing it. The nice play by Neftali Lynn to put it in for the Dragons, but Brookdale again pushing it down really quickly, getting the basket and the foul, and now Little goes to the line with a chance to make it a three-point play. It's 86-84 now, with a 1:03 to go. Dragons in the lead.
We're really seeing a good game here tonight.
Good hustle by both teams. Really good game. Little misses the free throw. Rebound, Paul Golder for the Dragons. They'll take it back down court. De La Rosa with the ball, crosses midcourt.
This is what you call nail-biting time. It's going to go down to about a couple of possessions.
Brian Jackson, right side, passes it back out to Bryant. Bryant over to Neftali Lynn. Lynn gets a shot block as he tries to drive and lay it in. Back to Brookdale. They can have a chance to tie it now. Sky Harris passing inside to Little. Little puts it in, and now the game is tied. Good passing by Sky Harris over to Lynn, who was basically, he was towering over two Dragons.
Tell you
Good
what,
play.
that was a huge block shot for Brookdale. And then again, they throw the ball down the floor, getting down and hustle, and now we,
and now we've got a tie.
Now we have a tie.
And we have a timeout. So we're going to take a 60-second break here. You're listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for all of us. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Back at the Dragons' lair, the Dragons now tied with Brookdale 86-86 with 28.3 seconds left in the ball game. Dragons with the ball.
All the go for one.
Golder passes over to De La Rosa, top of the key. De La Rosa looking for an open man, passes over to Golder. Golder passing it over to Jackson. Jackson back to Bryant. Bryant over to Neftali Lynn, and Neftali Lynn just can't get it in. Under the basket, tried to put it in, and time runs out.
Wow.
We have overtime.
Oh my
That was
goodness.
some sequence of events.
Holy cow.
Neftali Lynn tried to put the ball, he was under the basket, but he had two men around him and just couldn't stuff it in. But with the Brookdale with the rebound, did not have enough time to call a timeout, and the clock runs out. So we're going to overtime. So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll go to overtime with the Dragons and Brookdale tied at 86. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Juice, Mom. Juice.
Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom,
I want juice.
Mom,
Juice.
Mom.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts. It's like she owns the place. And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
All right, Louis Garcia along with Diane Schumacher are at the Dragons' lair going into overtime. The Dragons in Brookdale tied at 86, and they tip it off to start overtime, and the Dragons get possession. Ooh, that was Paul Golder trying to drive the lane. He gets fouled.
Well, I don't think Coach Mecca envisioned this going into overtime tonight. You know, I just...
I don't think he, for his first game as coach, I don't think this is what he was looking for. But it's an exciting game.
Sure is.
Paul Golder will shoot two. The foul called on number 10, Tara Gatling. Golder makes the first one, and it's 87-86. Shoots the second, bounces off the rim. Rebound to Brookdale. Carrie Kirkwood with the ball over to Sky Harris. Back to Kirkwood, back to Harris. Tried to get it inside to Bradshaw. Bradshaw tried to toss it inside, and the ball taken away by the Dragons. They drive back down court. Golder finding Ronald Bryant. Passing it back outside the midcourt to De La Rosa. De La Rosa to Lynn. Lynn looking to drive. Spins. Passes off to Jackson. Jackson back out to Golder. Golder shoots. Score, and could not make the three. Rebound back to Brookdale. Passing outside to Sky Harris. Takes a dribble. Steps inside and tries to put it in. Ball bounces off the rim. Rebound back to number 21. De La Rosa. Dragons with the ball. De La Rosa driving, can't get it, can't put it in. Back down court, Brookdale. Passing back to Sky Harris. Harris laying it in. Nice passing on Brookdale. Tara Gatling finding an open man, Sky Harris, who just bounced it in for the score. 88-87 now. Brookdale taking the lead. Bryant. Dribbling right side, passing over to De La Rosa. De La Rosa over to Jackson. Jackson back to De La Rosa, driving across the lane. Hook shot, not bounces, doesn't even hit the rim. Kind of a wild shot there, coming across the lane.
Yeah, that's something we really don't need at this time. We just got to play within our capabilities, and that'll be fine. Again, use our quickness, be patient. But I do think Brookfield, Brookdale is tightening up on their defense, though.
And they say a ball bounced off of a Brookdale player, so the Dragons will get the ball, but there is 3 seconds left on the shot clock because the ball never hit the rim. Inbound, bounce pass inside to Lynn. Lynn tries to shovel it in and can't get it. Rebound back to Brookdale. They drive it back down court. Carrie Kirkwood with the ball. Passing it outside to Sky Harris. Harris over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw back to Harris. Trying to get it inside. Ball knocked away, and the Dragons get it. Lynn with the ball. Driving past everybody. Quick feet by Neftali Lynn, and he takes off and puts in the layup. Gets fouled. And that's 25 points tonight so far for Neftali Lynn.
I tell you, he goes into fourth gear, and you can't catch up to him.
Foul called on number 23, Sky Harris. That's number 4 for him. Lynn makes the free throw, gets the three-point play, and now at 90-88. Dragons retake the lead. Under 3 minutes to go in overtime. Brookdale with the ball. Tara Gatling looking, finding Kirkwood outside. Passes it over to Sky Harris. Harris with the jumper from 15, puts it in off the board. Ties the game up at 90.
Brookdale does a nice job working the ball around the perimeter, using like a 3-2. And then he has his big man come on out on the corner and has a nice jump shot there.
Just under 2.5 minutes to go in overtime. Game tied at 90 now. De La Rosa over to Golder. Golder driving across the lane. Tries to put up a shot. It gets knocked away, and Brookdale comes up with it. They're driving back down quickly again. Passing it around Bradshaw. Bradshaw takes a couple steps, takes a jumper from the foul line. No good. Rebound to Little. Little gets it knocked away. Tries to put it back. Gets it put away. And the Dragons get the rebound. They're driving back down. Ryan Jackson tries to pass off to Lynn. Jackson driving the lane, then passes off to Lynn at the last second. And Lynn gets the ball knocked away. It looks like it's going to stay with the Dragons as far as possession. 24 seconds on the shot clock. Game tied at 90 as we're under 2 minutes to go in overtime. Jackson inbounding the ball to Bryant. Bryant across the lane, tries to shovel it underneath. Can't make the layup. And Brookdale comes back with the ball again. Inside to Sky Harris. Harris gets the ball knocked away by De La Rosa. De La Rosa pushing the ball down court. Back pass over to Golder. Pass over to Bryant. Ball knocked around and Lynn puts it in.
I'm a big believer of using the backboard as much as possible, and that's what we just saw was the use of the backboard on that shot off the rebound.
Lynn gets the basket off the rebound and gets fouled. He'll go for the three-point play. Foul called on number 4, Keyshawn Kirkwood. Free throw by Lynn is missed. Lynn with 28 points for the night. 92-90. Dragons with the lead. Under a minute and a half to go in the game in overtime. Brookdale with the ball. Kerry Kirkwood. Serving to top of the key. Passes over to Keisha Kirkwood. Back over to Tara Gatling. Gatling with the jumper. No good. Rebound. Little. I think he got fouled. Jordan Little gets the rebound, gets fouled, trying to put it back in. And the foul is called on number 15, Ronald Bryant Jr., and that is the 5th for him. So he will sit down. Connor Jacobs coming in for the Dragons.
I think he played hard all night tonight.
He did. He put in a lot of minutes. Little with 2 could tie this game at 92. Misses the first one. 1:05 to go now. Little with his second shot. Misses that too. And Neftali Lynn comes down with the rebound. Dragons with a chance to stretch this lead with now under a minute to go in overtime.
It's funny, I wrote down in the first half that number 24 from Brookdale is not a good free throw shooter.
Definitely true. Missed them both. Had a chance to tie it, missed them both. Lynn with the ball, over to Jacobs. Jacobs spins, passes it outside to Golder. Golder takes a dribble, fakes, and a short jumper from the foul line. Nice. Dribbled once, faked the shot, took a step, and put in the jumper. And we've got a timeout with 33 seconds to go. The Dragons now with a 94-90 lead. And we'll see if this is a 30 or a full timeout. We'll just keep it here anyways.
Boy, that was a nice decision making on the player. He didn't rush the shot. He hesitated, he waited, and then he made that decision and he put a beautiful shot in. The Dragons don't have it easy. You know, they've got to come back after tonight, and they've got a game tomorrow at 3 against Allegheny. Then they come back on Monday against the Navy JVs. So they're playing a lot of ball now.
Yeah, so they're hustling a lot. They played Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of games in a lot of days, but they're showing their hustle tonight. (94-90).
Now we hope 4 points should be enough, but I'm not so sure.
We got 34 seconds to go.
Brookdale will hustle.
They will. They definitely will hustle.
I like to be a fly on the wall listening to what the Brookdale coach would be saying right now, and then another fly on the wall to see what the Howard's coach would be saying right now.
Dragons break their huddle and come on back onto the court. Looks like we got Ryan Jackson, Della Rosa, Paul Golder, Neftali Lynn, and Connor Jacobs on the court for the Dragons. Keyshawn Kirkwood will inbound the ball for Brookdale. Kerry Kirkwood with the ball crosses midcourt, outside to Gatlin, back to Kirkwood. Tries to get inside to Harris. Harris outside to Kirkwood for three. No good. Rebound goes to, nice fighting for the ball with Little, but he gets the ball stripped from him. And the Dragons were about to come out with the ball, Ryan Jackson, and he gets fouled. Little fight underneath the boards. It looked like Little had the ball, had possession, but somebody put a hand in there and knocked it away.
Yeah, one of the players, I think, came over his back at one point trying to get the ball. But that's just a battle of who wants it more.
Exactly. So Keyshawn Kirkwood gets the foul, gets a foul call. So he now has 3 for the night. Ryan Jackson misses the first of 2. Dragons holding on to a 4-point lead with 17 seconds left. Jackson ready to shoot the second of 2. Puts it in. Lead now at 5, and we have another timeout.
This is a timeout. Howard called that timeout.
Howard called the timeout.
17 seconds left, huh? Up by 5. Probably talking about composure. Mm-hmm. Maintaining your composure. Don't allow them to stop the clock. No crazy fouls. Play straight up defense. And be prepared,
Be prepared for anything.
Be prepared for anything. I was going to say a press down the road.
All right, let's set it up for you again. There's 18 seconds left to go in the game, in the overtime. Howard leading 95-90. Both teams in the double bonus.
I'm sure they're also talking about who to foul.
Yeah.
So I hope Coach Mecca says if we have to foul, maybe 24.
Yeah, 24 is Little is
but we're
probably
up.
a good choice, Jordan Little.
So we'll see what happens. We're up by 5.
Now, Neftali Lynn, who had like 4 points, I believe, in the first half, has 30 for the game. So he has really asserted himself in the second half.
Certainly has.
All right, Brookdale inbounds the ball. Kirkwood with the ball, passing it outside. Back to Kirkwood. Long jumper, no good. Rebound back to the Dragons. Ryan Jackson comes down with it, and he gets fouled. 5.6 seconds left to go. That long jumper by Kirkwood could have been a three-pointer, but not to be.
I'm sure if we pull this out for the Dragons, Coach Dahl will be very, very proud of Coach Mecca. They both coached, I think, over at Coppin.
Okay,
I think
Coppin.
Mecca was one of his players when Jay Dahl was an assistant coach for many years before coming here.
Ryan Jackson at the line to shoot 2, makes the first one. Makes it a 96-90 lead. 5.6 seconds to go in overtime. And Jackson makes the second, 97-90. Brookdale coming down court, trying a long 3. Bounces off. And that is the ball game. Dragons blowing a lead.
Finally
bringing it into overtime, but coming through in overtime and winning going away.
Hey, this was a big victory tonight on a couple occasions. We're coming out of what, an 8-game
losing streak. Brookdale was on a 7-game winning streak.
And you don't have your head coach coaching tonight. So this was a great victory for the Dragons at Howard Community College.
We're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we're going to come back to go over the statistics and a little quick analysis on the ball game. You are listening to Dragons basketball on Dragon Digital Radio. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes twice a day, making sure they brush their teeth, is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Go to 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do within this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like Food Angels in America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Disease and stroke.
Women now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever. Harvard Medical School has now opened its doors to new female applicants. The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
This is the sound of salmonella gyrating on your undercooked chicken. And it looks like Mom might be taking it out a little early. Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So use a thermometer to cook each type of meat to the right temperature. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
I'm Lance Bass, and I will not be news today. I will not make another push to be the first man in space with frosted tips and a puka shell necklace. And I will not go viral as my terror is caught on camera when I realize that in the vacuum of space, no one can hear you sing. No, I will not be trending today because there is a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
Ebola still needs our attention. Follow the response, recovery, and rebuilding at trendonthis.org. Brought to you by USAID International.
1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
Okay, Louis Garcia back here at the Dragons Lair, where the Dragons have won 97-90 over Brookdale in overtime. And Diane, we are joined by our first-time coach,
That's right.
Mecca Chiasor. Welcome.
What a debut tonight, Coach.
Congratulations.
1-0.
So tell us what the secret was.
The secret was just to play basketball, believe in ourselves and play basketball. Like I said, last night, Coach Dahl put us in a great position. We went through scout reports, and we executed pretty good in practice last night. So, I mean, he left me in good hands. I can't take all the credit. I mean, he left me in great hands, and we just came out here and did what we knew we can do.
Well, it looks like we were quicker than Brookdale. We had foot speed. It was unbelievable.
So we knew they had size, so we just figured if they were going to beat us with their size, they would have had to beat us with their size. But we were going to beat them with our quickness. So we figured if we get the ball, we get out and run. If we don't have anything, we pull it back and we execute. But we got out on a couple breaks. We got a couple stops, which gave us some transition buckets. So it was a pretty good night overall.
Now, what did you tell them when we were going into overtime?
I just told them to settle down. 5 minutes. It's only 5 more minutes. So if they can give me their all for 5 minutes. We got a big game tomorrow, which is an MD JUCO game. So they can give me their all for 5 minutes, and we can start a streak. And we're starting a streak.
And I think you called a timeout when there was about 17 seconds left of the overtime?
Yes, yeah. So the plan between that is I wanted to call a timeout. One, to get, we were in the 13, so I wanted to get the guy on the free throw line down because he had a hard time. He was tired, so he had a hard problem getting down the floor. So I wanted to call a timeout, so we were in the set defense. Then I wanted to let our guys know that the big guy is not a great shooter or not a great free throw shooter. So if he gets it down low, just foul him. You know what I'm saying? We're up 4. We foul him. He makes 1 or he misses 2 or he makes 2. We're still up. So I just thought I would put that little wrinkle in so we didn't get beat too bad.
Well, I think you're going to make Coach Dahl sleep a little bit easier
A little
tonight.
bit easier. Nah, Coach Dahl, he's relentless, so he knows we got a game tomorrow. So he's definitely probably going to call me, and we're going to get ready for tomorrow's game. So.
You guys have called you already?
Yeah, he definitely called me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's called me about twice now, so. And he just texted me, so.
Well, tell him that we missed him, but that his number 1 assistant did a heck of a job tonight.
Yeah, I try. I can't take all the benefit. It's these kids. They just fight. They're fighters, so.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, Diane, so I was just looking at the stats. We just got the final stats in, and we talked about turnovers in that first half, and they had 10, only 5 in the second half. Still kept up the shooting. They're shooting their field goal percentage at 48%. So it seemed to turn things around, and Coach told us during the break, he stressed, have a little more patience, guys.
And I think you saw that, especially in the second half. Again, we've got great foot speed, but a lot of times with young players, they have a tendency to rush. Johnny Wooden, the great late Johnny Wooden, used to say, be quick, but don't rush. So I think once these kids really start understanding what that concept really means, we could go into the second half of the season, with all these young kids.
Yeah.
And believing in themselves, like Coach Mecca said.
And they know how to push it up court. It's just a matter of some patience and just looking for the good passing.
But we saw some really wonderful plays tonight, some shake and bake moves, some really good defensive plays. The boards, I thought we hit the boards really hard on both ends tonight.
Looking at the stats, about 39 rebounds for Howard, 46 for Brookdale. Looking at the leading scorer, Neftali Lynn, we mentioned again, first half, 4 points, 30 points for the game.
Unbelievable.
Second half in overtime for him. All right, we're going to take a quick break, a 1-minute break, and then we're going to be back to wrap it up. You're listening to Dragons winning basketball, 97-90 over Brookdale on Dragon Digital Radio. We'll be right back.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Louis Garcia and Diane Schumacher back here at the Dragons Lair. Again, the Dragons winning 97-90 in overtime over Brookdale Community College. And Diane, do you have any final thoughts for us?
I just think this was a great victory for the team. I think it's a great victory for their confidence. Going into tomorrow's game at 3 o'clock against Allegheny here. And then they've got to turn around again, and on Monday they're playing the Navy JV, and Monday at 7:30. So, this was a great game. Overtime, being coached by an assistant coach.
Absolutely.
And we saw some people stepping up their games tonight.
And they broke an 8-game losing streak.
And
so
they broke an 8-game
that.
losing streak with young kids. So they should be really, really proud of themselves and the effort that they gave.
What time's the game tomorrow?
Tomorrow it is at 3 p.m.
3 p.m. and
against Allegheny.
Awesome. Right here in the Dragons Lair, right?
That's right.
All right. So 3 p.m. If you can't, if you're around, come out to the game and watch the winning Howard Community College Dragons as they try to bring on a winning streak after an 8-game losing streak.
And they hit the conference game tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon.
All right, Diane, thank you again for coming out here and being part of our live broadcast of Dragons basketball.
It's my pleasure, and we're going to have to do it again soon.
Absolutely. I also want to thank our producer back in the studio, Chris Oviedo, and Abigail Bittinger, who helped us out here on the court. Again, if you like us, then like us on Facebook at Dragon Digital Radio. If you want to watch highlights of HCC athletics, check out our YouTube page, HCC Dragon Sports. Once again, the final score: Howard Community College Dragons 97. The Jersey Blues of Brookdale Community College 90 in overtime. For the Dragon Digital Radio team, I'm Louis Garcia saying so long from the Dragon's Lair. And go Dragons!